Good morning, traders and investors. Steve Gans here with the weekend update for December 7th, 2025. So things are still ripping along here. SPX, of course, has had a significant rally over the past week and a half, and after a little bit of a pullback. So definitely on an upswing. It did start to flatten out a little bit here later this week, but everything still appears to be in a fairly bullish mode. So I'm not sure that, giving the history of what's called a Santa Claus rally as we get closer to Christmas, where our markets rally going into the close of the year, I'm not sure that we might not be making some new highs here over the next couple of weeks. It will really depend on how things start to play out early this week. Now, volume on up days is still nicely up there. It's good high volume on those up days. This last week, volume overall was off, of course, because we're around the holidays, people getting back from trips, things like that. So I think we'll start to see volume pick up this week. So SPX acted very stable. SPY, very similar, of course. It's just 1/10 of SPX. S&P futures, same story there as well. And let's look at the volatility on the S&P. So volatility is down to almost historic lows, meaning there's no fear in our market right now. Nobody's saying, I got to buy insurance on my portfolio because something is freaking them out. So volatility low, and the volume on up days a little higher, both bullish signals, as well as, of course, just the general pattern that we're seeing of this uptrend over the past couple of weeks. We see the same thing in Qs. Qs are getting close to a potential breakout as well. So we'll have to see how that plays out. Same story here. So aside from this one big volume red bar, everything else has been decent sized green bars on up days. Again, a little bit lighter over this past week, just being around the Thanksgiving holiday, etc. Volatility for the Qs, also not quite at historic lows, but pretty darn close. There's nothing in there indicating that there's any real fear in that market. Now, one of the interesting stories here is IWM, the Russell 2000. If we go back, it has struggled for a few years now to get to its prior highs, all the way back here in 2021. But the Russell 2000 has broken out now. We can see that it has broken out to new highs. So kind of odd that the Russell is the leader, because the Russell consists of, again, more smaller cap companies, but it is starting to take a little bit of a leadership position here and may very well pull some of the other indexes with it to higher marks. Let's look at the volatility in Russell. Also, essentially historic lows on volatility with Russell. So overall, very low volatility across all of our equity markets and decent volume on those up days. So no real fear in sight. A history of Santa Claus rallies happening late in the year, going into Christmas and going into the new year. So I'm in a bullish mode here for the next couple of weeks. If we take a look at gold, as I had suspected and mentioned previously, is likely to chop sideways here in a channel for a little bit. So that's my expectation of gold. At some point, I do expect that it will likely resume its trend higher. But right now, it's forming what I call a cup and handle pattern. That being the cup, this being the handle. And more often than not, those tend to break to the upside. So overall, in all of our markets right now, I feel they've got a pretty bullish feel to them. So that's it for this weekend's update, everyone.